This is the single most important move on the global chessboard in the last 20 years, is how the United States and its allies interfaces or doesn't interface with the Chinese central bank digital currency.
Services like Venmo, Apple Pay, and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have prepped us for virtual transactions. But the digital yuan is different. It doesn't rely on physical money, it's just computer code. It's called a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, and China is not alone in its ambitions to digitize money. A CBDC is almost an amalgamation of a cryptocurrency and a standard currency. It's all digital, but it is created and controlled by a government and/or a central bank. The US dollar remains the world's de facto monetary reserve. But with so many countries like China going full speed ahead to develop CBDCs for themselves, the US dollar faces a challenge. Either follow the trend, find a better solution, or risk losing its place in the world economy.
For a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description.
Today, when you want to send money to someone, it's actually pretty clunky. You've got Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle, which are all improvements over the days of wire transfers, but there are limits to what you can send, and it can still take days to process. Enter Bitcoin. Bitcoin was built on and originated blockchain technology, which speeds up this whole process. Without going too deep into it, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies transfer money using a decentralized, distributed ledger. There is no central company, government, or entity controlling these transactions. To keep things accurate and secure, the system compares all of the ledgers to make sure that it stays up to date and contains the same information. A CBDC would offer some similarities of both a cryptocurrency and a traditional currency. It'd be digital and could even be built using blockchain technology, but it would be centralized and controlled by the government and banks. So what would be giving this digital dollar any value? Well, what gives a physical dollar any value? Among other things, it's trust. Right now, 67 countries are researching, developing, or have a pilot program for a CBDC. Among them are China and the US. China launched its digital yuan in parts of the country, and it's incentivizing people to use it. But the US is taking a smarts over speed approach.
The chairman of the Federal Reserve, Powell, said we'd much rather get it right than to be first.
Some people are speculating that the US dollar could lose its supremacy in the world economy because of China and the digital yuan.
I believe the digital yuan is the largest threat to the West that we've faced in the last 30, 40 years.
Currently, 62% of the world's currency reserves are held in US dollars. But Goldman Sachs predicts that the digital yuan could have 1 billion users by 2030. That's triple the entire population of the United States. But it's still not really known whether a CBDC is the right thing for the United States. So let's take a look at some pros and cons. We'll start with some of the benefits that a CBDC could offer the United States: sustainability, speed, convenience, and access. Concerns over Bitcoin and its power consumption have put cryptocurrencies, even the ones with less power requirements, in a bad light. And it's fast. Other countries who have tested CBDCs have seen real-time payments, which means you send the money and it is instantly someone else's. And that includes sending money to people in other countries. Say you want to send $100 to someone in the Philippines via Western Union, a popular international money transferring company. You'd pay a fee as high as $7.50, and the cash would be converted at a lower rate, meaning that person would get less than what you sent after conversion. It can also take up to 4 business days to get there. With a CBDC, these transactions would be instant and possibly fee-free. Another benefit could come to the 7.1 million Americans who don't have a bank account. 13.8% of Black households were unbanked, and 12.2% of Hispanic households were unbanked in 2019, while white households were only 2.5% unbanked. The most cited reason for not having a bank account was not having enough money to meet the minimum balance required. Then there are the concerns to consider. We have trust, privacy, innovation, and again, access. The second most cited reason for 7.1 million Americans not having bank accounts comes down to trust. More than a third of those unbanked Americans don't trust banks. For the folks developing a CBDC in the United States, that's a key driver behind the project. CBDCs could also pose a threat to the $1.3 trillion cryptocurrency market. While a whole lot of people in the world today see cryptocurrencies as an investment, the real goal of cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin at least, were to be spent easily and internationally. And that might not be necessary anymore if we have CBDCs. And a CBDC in the US has potential to stifle fintech innovation. Right now, there are a lot of things happening in the world of digital currencies and financial technology. And while a CBDC could help those Americans without a bank account, it could also expand the technology gap. 7% of Americans say they don't use the internet. For Black Americans, that rises to 9%. And for folks over 65, that rises to 25%. Only 85% of Americans say they have a smartphone. That's even less, 83% for Black Americans. And Americans with a disability are 3 times as likely as those without a disability to say they never go online. So switching our financial system to an entirely digital one could have some negative impacts for already underserved communities. A system where we don't use physical money anymore is not hard to imagine, and might be in our near future. But the route we take to get to that future is likely to look very different from China. A CBDC does not get a unanimous vote of confidence in the United States. There are other options. Stablecoins, for instance, like Tether, USDC, and the upcoming Diem are cryptocurrencies linked to the price of a dollar. Regardless of the solution, the US will have to keep up with an increasingly digital world, especially when it comes to money, where competition between China's digital yuan is heating up.